Jimmy Dore had a lot to say about the corporate media's response, obituaries, to Ed Schultz, and he had a bone to pick. And let's listen to what he had to say.
But I want to also talk about this, about the death of Ed Schultz. I want to talk about how now, because of places like MSNBC, well, all establishment news and the establishment pushing this latest Red Scare, they're not communists. Russia isn't communist anymore. They're crony capitalists like we are. So we used to be afraid of Russia because they were going to infiltrate the United States with their ideology. So we were afraid of their ideas. We were afraid of communism, the idea of communism, and that's what we were fighting against. So we could say, oh, we don't hate Russian people, but we do hate communism. So that's an easy way to be able to kill them. So now, because of this happening, because they're pushing this establishment lie, this new Red Scare, now, when someone like Ed Schultz dies, this is how it gets covered in the Hill. And I want to show you. This is the entire article. So the article starts here. The article starts there, and then it ends here. It's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. That's it. 6 paragraphs. And from here down, so 1, 2, 3. So from the 4th paragraph through the 6th paragraph, 4, 5, and 6, it's all smearing him for him doing his show on RT television, Russian Today television. So when a guy, an honorable dude like Ed Schultz, who spent his whole life being a patriot, trying to tell the truth for the people whose stories didn't get told in the media, the working class, standing up for unions, standing up for those without a voice. This is what Ed Schultz did. He tried to punch the big guys and the fat cats in the mouth on the behest of the left out. And so now when a guy like him dies, half of his obituary is smearing him. Do you want? And I'm going to show you the whole obituary. This is from the Hill. I'll show you the whole obituary. Okay, I'm going to read you the whole thing. It starts off with liberal, because it's not long. That's why. Liberal commentator Ed Schultz died at his lake home in Minnesota. According to a report on Thursday, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota, reported that the longtime broadcaster died of natural causes. He was 64. Schultz started his career in Fargo before eventually working as a commentator and host for MSNBC. Fans praised his focus on middle-class issues on his TV show, The Ed Show, which was broadcast weekday afternoons. Schultz's MSNBC show was canceled in 2015. And in January, isn't that something, right before the primary? Isn't that something? Mm-hmm. Isn't that something? Yep. Right before, no Ed Schultz during the election, no Ed Schultz. Isn't that something?
Yep.
They cover it in January 2016. He joined RT America, the English language Russian news channel. Paragraph. So that's it. So even in the 3rd paragraph, they got it in. So it was just the first 2 paragraphs that was about Ed Schultz and his work, his lifelong work, and then starting in paragraph 3 all the way through paragraph 7, it's all about RT. He's Russia. He's working for the Kremlin. You think I'm kidding? Go ahead, Ron.
Well, I was just going to add real quick, even that English language Russian, they're making it seem like it's not an American bureau,
right,
which it is. They were American journalists working at RT America. So much so, and people seem to try to forget that so much that Lee Camp had to put it as a disclaimer on his show now.
Right.
Like, hey, we're American comedians talking about American issues. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it goes on. The Kremlin-backed RT is free. The Kremlin-backed. Do you ever say the Buckingham Palace-backed BBC? Does anyone ever say that? Or how about the White House-backed PBS?
Only when I'm at a party.
The White House-backed PBS said that single-payer health care will never come to pass.
Something that will never, ever, ever come to pass.
The Kremlin-backed RT is frequently criticized as state propaganda and was forced to register as a foreign. What does this have to do with Ed Schultz and his career? Nothing. This has nothing to do with Ed Schultz and his career.
Well, it certainly wants to give the impression he's a foreign agent.
So he spends how many years? Can you look up how many years his show was on Iran at MSNBC? The Kremlin-backed RT is frequently criticized as state propaganda and was forced to register as, quote, a foreign agent, end quote, by the Justice Department last year. But Schultz pushed back against that characterization. Again, turning his whole obituary into him having to defend that he's not a Russian puppet. You proud of yourself, Rachel Maddow? You proud of yourself, Chris Hayes, Lawrence O'Donnell? Are you guys proud? I know Chris Matthews, he has absolutely no integrity. That guy sold out a long time ago when he red baited Phil Donahue. Back before about the Iraq War, when Chris Matthews did that, red baited Phil Donahue. Remember him doing that? Said he didn't really love America, doesn't like America, Phil Donahue, because he was against the Iraq War. So we know Chris Matthews has been a piece of it for a long time. And Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes joke around with Chris Matthews like he's Santa Claus instead of what he is, a sellout who lies to people and smears people. So go.
The Ed Show on MSNBC went from 2009 to 2015, and then the
So 6
national
years.
syndicated radio programs, the Ed Schultz Show, that went from 2004 to 2014. So the radio show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this guy had this long career in broadcasting. And the thing that I want to mention, which we all know the answer to, if he had a show for a couple years on BBC America or Al Jazeera America or just some other American bureau, would it have even been mentioned?
No.
Yeah, of course not.
It wouldn't even have been mentioned. If he had a show on Al Jazeera, Al Jazeera, no one ever mentions Al Jazeera. Young Turks had a show on Al Jazeera. Nobody calls them puppets.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add also that you were talking about how we lost different hosts at MSNBC, but let's not forget that NBC got Megyn Kelly.
The biggest score was Deborah Norville on Today.
Oh my God, that's that was it, Megyn Kelly.
Right? That was quite a get.
Okay. So here's the next paragraph. So here's paragraph 7. RT completes the picture of the events in the U.S. and around the globe, giving viewers. This is what Ed Schultz said. RT completes the picture of events in the United States and around the globe, giving viewers access to a range of stories, voices, and opinions, and a real opportunity to speak their minds. Schultz said.
Oh! Speak their minds? No! We don't want that.
Upon his hiring. And that was it. That's the end of his. So his obituary in the Hill, from the middle of paragraph 3 to the end of it, was all about Russia TV and him having to defend himself against being a puppet of the Kremlin.
Yeah, generally obituaries, share specific, maybe funny stories about the person, or my brother poured his heart into the bar that he owned. Or something funny that the guy did, a joke about him, or something particularly funny that happened, and how much he survived by his loved ones. No, this one's making a dead man say, "No, I was not a Russian agent."
Mm-hmm.
Are you proud of yourselves? Are you proud of yourself, Rachel? Are you proud of yourself? This is what you guys have created. Now when a great man like Ed Schultz, a good man like Ed Schultz, a moral guy who spoke up for the people with no voice his whole career. So when this guy dies, now more than 50% of his obituary is defending himself against being a traitor. And here's how the Daily Beast covered it. You want to see it even worse? So this is the entire article that the Daily Beast did for Ed Schultz. That's it. That's the whole thing. One paragraph. That's the entire article. And I'm going to read it to you because it's very short. Longtime radio and cable news fixture Ed Schultz has died at age 64, WDAY-TV reported Thursday. Schultz began his broadcasting career in radio in the early 1980s and was a conservative talk radio host before becoming an outspoken populist progressive, eventually hosting a daily MSNBC show that focused on his pet causes like labor unions and universal health care. Sounds like a Putin puppet. After departing from the cable network, he became a host on the Kremlin-funded RT channel. No other They don't ever say the United States government White House funded PBS. They never say the White House funded, government funded, Congress funded NPR. They just say NPR. They don't ever say the British government funded BBC. They just say the BBC. They don't even say that with Al Jazeera. They just say Al Jazeera. But RT, because we're a little fucked up in America, and we can't see through stupid propaganda spewed out by people like Rachel Maddow, Chris Hayes, and Lawrence O'Donnell.
No, Lawrence O'Donnell, he's a straight shooter.
Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it?
I don't know.
Where's the hammer?
It's on a different.
Is it on the? Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering. Stop the hammering.
This is what we get. Kremlin-funded RT channel at times. You ready? At times defending Russian President Vladimir Putin and praise President Donald Trump's political skills. That's the whole obituary at the Daily Beast. That's the whole thing. One paragraph, and they slip in there that he defended Russian President Vladimir Putin. In his obituary, you're smearing the guy.
That's so weird coming from the Daily Beast.
Daily Beast, such a respectable organization, isn't it? The Daily. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who's affiliated there that might have an incentive?
Isn't
to
it
do
weird
this?
that because Chelsea Clinton sits on the board of the Daily Beast that they're such a hack organization? The Daily Beast, again. They do good work when it doesn't contradict their corporate overlords. Mm-hmm. But when it does, they do crap like this. This is why the Daily Beast sucks so hard is that they do right here. This is it right here. You smear a guy like that. This is, and by the way, they didn't even write this themselves. This was taken from Channel 6, WDAY. That's where they got this. That's where so disgusting. And this is the world we live in now. Like, grown-up people aren't embarrassed. It's most of the people in the establishment media aren't embarrassed to push this red. They're still doing it. And then when a guy like Ed Schultz dies, this is how it turns out. And, just really should be embarrassed of themselves. Of course they're not going to be, because they're paid $30,000 a day at MSNBC. That's why they're embarrassed. $30,000 a day covers up for a lot of shame. Again, there's something wrong with Rachel Maddow's shame mechanism. Same thing with Chris Hayes, Lawrence O'Donnell. There's something wrong with their shame mechanism. They can work for a company that's screwing over the populace, the people, and they don't care. They don't care about the TPP. They don't care about Ed Schultz. They don't care about pushing a Cold War. They don't care about anything. They don't care. Hey, please make sure you subscribed. Even if you think you are, you probably are. It only takes a second to check. And then click that bell to make sure you get a notice every time we drop a video. They won't tell you every time anyway, but it's the only thing we can do to fight back against the bastards. So please make sure you're subscribed and click that bell. And our next live show is July 15th in Chicago. And after that, July 27th in Burbank, California. Special guest on that show, Abby Martin. And if you could become a patron, that would be fantastic. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Thanks for your support.